See, we're looking that small today because it's really cold, and cold causes everything to shrink.
Speak for yourself, mate. Do you know what episode we're on? I don't know what episode it is. It feels kind of irrelevant at this point.
Yeah.
We've not numbered them for a while, have we?
We'll go straight into it.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Grapplers Academy. Been a bit of an eventful weekend, GrappleFest. Some really good matches. Had a teammate, Josh Territon, against George from Daisy Fresh. Like, for me, it was a brilliant match to watch. George was constantly attacking, really good submission attempts, and the durability of Cherrington to like withstand the attacks, escape some pretty deep submissions. Yeah, like really good display from both.
Yeah, otherwise it was a good exchange on the legs.
Yeah.
It was a nice match. I did enjoy that one. What belt is Josh now?
I think he's purple belt.
I was going to say, because if he's a blue belt, still is an absolute sandbagger.
It's a
of
full
blue
sandbagger.
belt. Definitely a really decent blue belt if he's still a blue belt. Sam Quinn style blue belt.
Oh, 100%.
But no, that was good, and there was a couple of good matches on the card as well. There was actually loads of really good matches on that card.
Yeah, loads. Like Chris Walsh, Sapphire, he's had a great match with Paul Lukowski. Ruotola brothers. It's really impressed me again. Yeah. Like, I can easily watch them week in, week out.
Yeah, they're so fun to watch.
Yeah.
And especially for me, I love their entries into Darces.
Yeah.
Like standing, shutting down that leg game, open guard passing, and then just throwing those arms in. These long designed arms for Darcing. Like, basically the perfect athlete for throwing Darces.
Like, someone's evolved to be a Darce player. And then you sort of like go straight across and there's a meme there and it's kind of like tickling their ankles while still being stood up.
It's great. I mean, like, you know, people can have their opinions about Atos or whatever, but they've produced some phenomenal athletes.
Yeah.
Like we talked about last week, Kinga, great example. He's not, he trains there now, but really great example of. I managed to get around and watching that match against Bradley Hill. That was a solid match. Yeah. He was on the receiving end of some pressure as well for quite a little bit, but then managed to get up and get that top pressure at the end. Defensive with the leg game stuff. Yeah, it was nice. Who else do we have on the GrappleFest card? I think.
Yeah,
Shane.
Shane Curtis.
Yeah, Shane Curtis.
I missed that match unfortunately.
I think he lost. I'm not sure whether it went to decision or not. But he was fighting a lad who I've seen up on. He was competing when I was competing up on. What's it called? Scottish grappling, whatever the competition was up there. I can't remember off the top of my head. He's a good player.
Yeah.
Good to see some of the Scottish guys coming down actually, because they have got some decent talent up there. And it's nice to see that mix.
That's what I like about the GrappleFest. Like, they'll put the northern talent on display. Like, it's kind of at a point at the moment where it kind of seems like a big north-south divide on a lot of the cards, like the big cards in the UK. But yeah, GrappleFest always seems to find great matches within, especially the north of the UK.
Yeah. I guess logistically, it's more down to do with like who the promoter is for the event, and like the connections that they've got with the clubs in the area. I imagine the guys who are running the Polaris stuff are like all southern based.
Yeah, true.
And they know everybody, or they know more clubs from the south, so if somebody pulls out, it's easy to get somebody into a match and whatever.
Yeah. And
that's probably equally true for the GrappleFest for the northern
circuit, isn't it?
But it was good to see, like, you know, there's a lot of good talent in the UK, and it would be nice to see a little bit of a mix. I know they have done some north versus south stuff.
Yeah.
But maybe play on that a little bit more would be interesting to see.
Oh, definitely. Like Empire have done that really good in the past, where they had quintet style north versus south. Yeah. But yeah, no, it'd be really nice to sort of see, even if it's kind of like a list of matches, load of northern players, southern players, and not necessarily go sort of like the best players from each, but sort of like stylistically, let's have a really good top player versus a really good guard player. Like, they make exciting matches. Usually as well, two really good top players makes a really good match. Two good guard players, I'm usually a little bit hesitant to watch them. Although I've got to say, Kev Corkill's match on GrappleFest over the weekend, two really good guard players with really good flexibility. Like, it was like watching two rubber bands grapple. Turned out to be a really, really good match. So yeah, there are the exceptions, but I think that's just for me being...
I think Sam Quinn had a match like that this weekend as well, didn't he? Both double guard pull and then managed to get in with the heel hook.
Is that the one that you posted up where he's sort of both connected, sat down?
Well, there is some sort of stipulation in some rule sets where they get a penalisation for that, isn't there? Like on a double guard pull. Is it IBJJF rules? Is it they get penalised for a double guard pull?
It could be.
Or is it just if there's not an adequate connection before?
I think it's more if there's not an adequate connection, but also if someone pulls guard and then one person gets up quicker, they get takedown points, I think, or they get some sort of sweep points because both sat down, one player's come up. So that's where the that video came out. Was it last year where there was two players sort of up down, up down, up down? It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah, and Craig Jones beat everybody to it and did a bit of a piss take on that one as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he's. I can watch his Instagram all day.
He's like his fuck, isn't he?
His recent one with fuck Tim Spriggs. Or Tim Spriggs is a Brit, sorry.
Yeah.
Like that T-shirt. I don't even know where that's come from. Like, is there some sort of beef between them two, or is he after a match? Or
I don't know, because Tim Spriggs fought in the under 99 last time at ADCC, didn't he? Craig Jones was under 88s.
I think so, yeah.
So I don't know whether they're going to end up matching up this time round. What do you reckon Craig will do? Do you reckon he'll stay in the under 88s? Because he does look a little bit bigger and he's weighed in slightly heavier for previous matches, hasn't he?
Yeah. I don't know, 'cause he's still got like a good 7 or 8 months to make weight for if he was to go to 88. But
I think he just likes talking shit and doesn't really care because he's happy to back it up.
At the end of the day, it brings him attention to his Instagram and more important, DVD sales.
Yeah. I'll tell you what is a good match, a really interesting match that we forgot to talk about last week. It's a while off, so I keep forgetting, but the Combat Jiu Jitsu match between Craig Jones and Cerrone.
I really cannot wait for that.
Yeah, that'll be fun because like Cerrone's always up for a good laugh, isn't he? And he just likes playing for fun. I've seen a little clip in his trailers where he's like with his training partner and his coach, he's in a heel hook and he's trying to figure out if he can slap him, and then he's just laughing because he's like, no, I fucking can't. I'm gonna get my leg snapped off here. But that'll be a quality match. I mean, I'm sure Craig might not just go in and try and get the finish straight away, but on the downs, if you think about it realistically, if Cerrone gets on top and just beats the fuck out of him with slaps, that's a realistic chance.
Yeah, like that's what I was going to say. That then, like, it kind of either goes from being a really quick heel hook finish, or Jones gets his guard passed and just gets palm, like across his face constantly.
I can't wait to see that in the coming weeks now, the training footage from the B team of just doing slap jitsu.
They need to do some sort of hype video as well. Like, you can tell there's no malice between the two of them, but I can sort of see the potential for a good bit of banter between them in like the build up to it, and it's got to be done, I think.
What would be mega is if it was a massive troll and then they wheeled out Gabby Garcia.
That would be even better. He keeps baiting her, doesn't he, Gabby?
What more admin? My friend and coach for quite a few years, Alan Howcroft, got his black belt this week finally. Yeah. After a long time at brown belt, definitely well deserved and about time. So I'm glad to see him get that, and now we can stop sandbagging the brown belt division.
Was it Neil Atkins that was able to award it to him?
Yeah, he's training up at Alicats now. Mostly, I think week in, week out, and I think he's known Neil for quite a while as well. So, good to see him get that. I think that's his main training base now there, which is good. So, he can stop sandbagging the brown belt division now and start having some competitive matches.
He's a really nice guy as well. It's sort of, like I say, it's a long time coming for him. Yeah. And he's really well deserved. Yeah,
he's really well known as well, isn't he? Because he does a lot of the reffing for a lot of the MMA events as well. Always on the scene for MMA and Jiu Jitsu, like active, competitive. Always tries and gets over to the Worlds
Yeah.
in Vegas each year as well. So yeah, good to see him get his black belt. Really pleased for that.
I don't think I've been to an event where he's not actually been there.
Oh, he's fucking always there.
Yeah.
Pretty much every event you can guarantee that he's going to be there.
Either ringside, judging, or reffing.
Or competing.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, definitely. This weekend we've got Polaris now, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, sure, it is this weekend, isn't it? The 27th.
Yeah. Should be.
We talked about that last week, didn't we? Who's on that card?
Lloyd Cooper's on it.
Yes.
I think, is Jed Hugh on it?
Against Edwin Najmi, isn't it?
Yes.
Let's see.
Some really good names on it. Like, I'm gonna have to forgive me because my memory is absolutely shocking.
We did talk about it last week.
Yeah. Which match, after looking at it, do you think is going to be a standout match on there, or an unexpectedly sort of result?
I don't know. I do want to see Jed Hughes match. To be honest, it'd be nice to see that match between Lloyd Cooper and the fuck's he fighting? Who's he fighting? Tom Barry.
Tom Barry, yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good match.
If I'm being honest, I can see Lloyd coming away with a win on that one.
Yeah, I think it'll still be a good match though.
Yeah.
Not always does it have to be like. It's nice to watch a match where it's just going to be a good competition. You get to see something fun. Sometimes when there's too much of a stalemate, it doesn't make for an interesting match.
No, true. You sort of like sit there and then, what was it, a match I watched, might have been last year or 2 years ago. Double guard pull, this was in like the medium heavy division in the gi, and they were just both playing footsie and fighting for inches, and it was a 10-minute match of that.
The good thing about those two guys is they're going to have quite an open match, and it'll be good and playful, and there'll be lots of submission attempts thrown there as well.
100%.
That's why I think that one's going to be an entertaining one to watch. And I think for like a lot of the, some people, I think Polaris gets quite a decent watch in the States as well, because it's on UFC Fight Pass, and there's quite often American guys coming over for the card as well.
Yeah.
So it'd be good for some of those, some of the international crowd to see some of our good talent from the UK as well.
Definitely. Like I say, I think, like you say, Najmi and Jed Hughes match will be a really good one. Be interesting to see what tactics each player comes out with as well, because they both can be dangerous from top or bottom.
What do you think the advantage for maybe a player who's less well known for like a big international competitor like Najmi?
Nothing to lose. Like, they can go out there and basically put it all on the line. If they put on a good match and they don't come away with a win, they've put on a great display. How
much do you reckon, let's say for example, this is probably a pretty good example match, how much research do you reckon somebody does coming over to face somebody they're a little bit, they might not be as aware of on the big international scene?
I think if someone's coming over to face like a lesser known grappler, they're going to try and do that little bit of research, purely because the bigger names got more to lose, so they kind of can't afford to not win, essentially.
Yeah.
Especially when they've been around for so long. I remember watching Edwin early on in my grappling career, and he's had like really good results, really good success in his career, and this is where I can sort of see it being a really interesting match, because you've got the young, hungry, newer competitor.
New black belt as well.
Yeah, new black belt. And you've got the sort of seasoned vet with plenty of experience, who's probably seen it all. So it's makes up for quite an interesting match.
I think fairly recently as well, there's been a couple of examples of bigger discrepancies in skill, but some of the Daisy Fresh guys taking some big names, some big black belts out, and they're at blue and purple belt and stuff.
Was it Couch at the ADCC thing with who's number one? He surpassed everybody's expectations with that, and for me, I think he's going to have a really exciting future.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's we're in that sort of interesting period now where it's kind of like the new wave are taking over the old guard. Because you've had players like Cyborg, Orlando Sanchez, Yori Samoish, Galbao, where they've dominated their divisions for a long time.
Yuri fought
Jed.
Jed,
Raw, yeah.
Yeah.
It was quite funny that because Jed's guard looked really good against him, and at one point Yuri asked the referee to get Jed to stop talking to him during the match, and he was like, "It's not in the rules. It's not in the rules. I can keep talking."
What was he saying?
You couldn't hear it on the microphone, but I reckon he was talking smack. Yeah. Afterwards, they did hug it up and sort of they had the friendly exchanges. So it'd be interesting to see if he tries to get in Edwin's head during that match in Polaris.
Yeah. Well, I sent you a game match in the week, didn't I? I can't remember which one it was. Did you have a chance to watch?
Muhammad Ali versus... I watched that one out. Literally, as soon as you sent it me, I was sat there waiting for the morning class to start, and I was like, I'm putting this on.
Waiting for an opportunity to watch some jiu-jitsu.
And it was a really good match. Muhammad Ali versus Felipe Andrew.
Yeah, Felipe Andrew, that's the one.
What a match.
Ripped the fucking sleeve off him at the beginning of the match.
And it wasn't even at the seam, it was at the actual, the fabric.
Some goddamn grip strength. There was a couple of times as well where he had a grip on the sleeve, but it was underneath the arm, where normally you just kind of push with the knee and break it off. Fucking hell, man, that grip must be strong as hell.
Serious. And how close it was up until the last minute.
Yeah.
I was sat there on the edge of my seat going, and then as Muhammad Ali won it, that come away with a win.
Really good to see a exciting game match. They just came out of the gate hot.
Yeah.
There was a lot of aggressive open guard passing early on.
Yeah.
Or attempts anyway. And the grips played in advantage there quite a bit. If that was no gi, I think a lot more of those passes might have been more successful.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, it's great to see some exciting gi matches. We were talking the other week about that division between gi and no gi, and from an entertainment point of view, typically the no gi is more entertaining, which is why it's got a little bit more steam underneath it at the moment, and the bigger shows are more leaning towards the no gi stuff.
Yeah.
But it'd be really good for maybe people to put on a little bit more exciting gi matches and just kind of let it go loose a little bit. And bring up the popularity of gi again.
Oh, definitely. I can definitely see gi gaining more popularity if we had more matches like the Muhammad Ali and Felipe Andrew match. Yeah. And it probably is due to me not watching it, so I'm not aware of any other matches that have been like that recently. So if anybody does see them, drop them in the comments. We'd be more than happy to watch them and reinforce our viewpoint that gi could be back on the rise.
The majority of the casual training person probably trains more in the gi than the no gi. I would probably say that's true. You get a lot of guys training no gi, or are more inclined to train no gi if they're MMA competitors. Pretty much everybody does train no gi, but I'd say for the most part, the average person who's training is probably either coming to it and thinking that in the head, jiu-jitsu is in the gi, just from a traditional standpoint or what they've seen. And I reckon probably most people train in the gi more than no gi throughout the course of the week.
Oh, 100%.
Or over the year as an average.
Yeah.
And a lot of shows have both as well. Local shows like Empire and stuff like that. They always have gi and no gi on.
I can see sort of a slight increase in no gi. Because there's a few more gyms which are primarily no-gi based. So I think there is the slow rise of the no-gi sort of numbers. But do you know what I think? I think part of what keeps people in the gi is the belt system.
Yeah.
And achieving that promotion and that black belt. Because I give a few promotions out last week at Hive, and I had a lot of people coming up to me sort of asking what do I promote on?
Why have I not got my promotion?
Yeah, not in sort of such words, but you can sort of see that's where the conversation's going, am I ready yet? And it's sort of and does seeing your teammates get the promotions, it kind of makes you go, I want a bit of that. I want a bit of that sort of that feeling, that glory, sort of that working towards.
How many clubs do you know of that promote all the way up to black belt just on no-gi?
So you got obviously 10th Planet, they have their own system for promotion, which I think for the sport would be nice to have like a unified grading system for no-gi, but then would that transfer across to the gi? So if you get your blue belt in no-gi, are you going to be a blue belt in the gi? Like, I don't know how the politics and that would work.
So I'm pretty much sure I'm not a brown belt. If anyone expects anything when they're rolling me, please don't.
Well, I think Dan Strauss has got a system as well where he promotes in no-gi as well.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's definitely room for that to happen. Just I think it's going to take probably individual coaches to either adopt some sort of system or just sort of create it themselves and have it within their gym, like what 10 Planet have done.
So I think the only danger is if somebody goes all the way up to black belt in no-gi, and they maybe never even want to teach, train in the gi, but maybe if they ever want to open up their own school and they've got no really experience with the gi intricacies, and then it's coming to teach that, you're kind of coming at it from a not quite a white belt perspective, but certainly there's a lot more intricacies in terms of the grip and the lapels and the sleeves and stuff like that you really do have to know if you want to teach it. You can kind of adopt some of you could end up with a no-gi game wearing a gi basically. Yeah. But then that doesn't benefit your students.
No, not at all. But I think if someone got the black belt training purely no-gi, I can't see them opening up a club where they have gi classes and coach in the gi either.
It'd probably be smart for them to get a gi instructor in to do that if they wanted to put it on the syllabus.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Like exclusively only training in gi or no gi? Which one? If you were only gonna do one for the rest of the time, which one would you pick?
It's a tough one, to be fair. Like, I'd possibly sway more towards no gi, just because of the pace, and more submissions are more acceptable in no-gi. Like, you can get away with a few cranks, different leg lock variations, but I do really like collar chokes and the different details and different things you can do with the gi whilst rolling. But yeah, I'd probably say I'd favour towards no-gi. What yourself?
I think I prefer no-gi from like just an enjoyment point of view. Like it's fun, quick rounds, isn't it? Nobody's kind of just holding or squeezing. But I think if I had to pick one, I think I'd say the gi, just because you can do everything in the gi that you can do no-gi. But then there's also everything else that you can do with the gi as well. No, so if you wanted to, you could just play a no-gi game. Yeah. And then basically figure out how to try and like shut people's grips down and stuff. Even if you have no interest in playing any of the grips or anything like that, you've got to try and figure out how to strip grips if people are going to play the gi game on you. You can still play a no-gi game if you want. So I think I'd have to be swayed towards the gi just because there is that extra layer on top of it as well. And if you've got a bit of an agreement with your training partners, like if you go in the gi and you're going to throw some heel hooks in, then you've got the full spectrum then.
No, very true. Yeah, I can sort of see that. Cause that's what I like about the gi as well. Like I really do enjoy the extra bits you can do in it, like tying someone's arm up so they've got one less tool to use and using that to find your way to a submission. But yeah, I think for enjoyment factors, I do really enjoy the pace and the speed and how precise you've got to be with no-gi, especially with submission applications.
Yeah. There's a lot of room and potential for people to slip out, especially as it starts getting slippy as well.
Yeah.
Playing heel hooks in the gi is quite interesting as well because there's a lot of fucking friction there, and you know it's really difficult for somebody to get out once you've got them kind of pinched and clamped on the legs. Yeah, it's good fun. It depends what sort of club you're going to as well. When you were talking about playing gnarly cranks and stuff.
Yeah. Like I don't think in a more traditional style club the cranks and stuff may go down as well.
I tell you the best thing about doing gi and why it should be the preferred method is if you get that knee on belly and you grab the belt or you grab the pants and you grab the collar, you can drive that in pretty hard.
True, and potentially get a good old tap there with that as well.
Yeah. One of my main training partners, I won't name names, went to another club which I won't name as well, but he started doing some of the gnarly shit that we do to each other in the gi. That what I'm talking about, and people rolling and basically carrying on to apply the knee on belly pressure to the back. I think I was like, we don't do that here. And I won't say his name, but he's like, fuck it. I think everybody who knows him, that's him. Yeah.
So have you had any experience like that where you've sort of been to a club and you've maybe played a little bit gnarly and not like sort of knee on spine, but like cradles, chin strappy, sort of cranking the neck a little bit, not to get the tap, but to find the pin and things like that.
Definitely sounds like you might have.
Oh, I have, yeah. I remember when I first, it wasn't when I first discovered the cradle, but when I like really started playing it in my game. I won't name the club, but it was a very sort of traditional sort of like gi jiu-jitsu club. I think it was like Midlands or somewhere down south, and got this cradle cinched in, used to set up the darts, and they might have been higher rank belt than me as well, and once I got the tap, they kind of like, you could see the fury build up in their face. It was like, who's this guy coming to do cradles? And I was like, it's not crank, it's a legit technique. If you don't like the heat, get out of the kitchen. I didn't say that to him, but...
What belt were you at the time?
Might have been early purple.
Fucking snapping people up. I always go the opposite way when I go to a club, to be honest. I'm always like, when I go to a new club, I'm like overly respectful.
Well, I started off that way, but then the sort of, as you get further into the rounds and they get a little bit heated and and you kind of like go against someone who's higher grade, and you're kind of like, you've got a target in your back now.
Well, it swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now you'll have a target on your back.
I love it, me though. As soon as I feel somebody go for something a bit gnarly, I'm like, that's giving me the green light to go now.
Prison rules now.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do like a Patreon for name and shame all these clubs that we've got stories for. Subscribe to the Patreon, $5 a month, and Si will basically name everything. The Jiu-Jitsu tell-all.
It'd be like TMZ.
We're gonna have to think of a good name for that. Send in suggestions for the name.
Definitely.
The tell-all TMZ version of our Patreon account.
And if you've got any similar stories, please do tell. I've heard a couple of them, and there's a couple of them where I've been like, I've kind of wanted to go out and get sort of a bit of vengeance for the person that's told me the story.
That sounds like a whole other avenue of discussion. That.
Yeah, like I'm sure you've heard a couple of them where you're kind of going, yeah, next time I like plug them in a fight, I'm gonna roll with that person and just put a bit of a pace on them.
Yeah, you never know though with some people when they go to clubs. Do you sort of like something could have been, somebody could have perceived something as being harsh on them. Where actually it was perfectly well justified depending on the way that they were rolling.
True. Yeah, I think with certain people you take it with a pinch of salt, and with some people you kind of go, no, I've rolled with you quite a lot, and that sounds like somebody's been a bit of a dick. Like, there's rolling hard, and then there's unnecessary.
Video evidence is always, I was going to say it'd be an anonymous one as well, wouldn't it? But you'd have to basically blur out your face for the round.